Okay, so somebody has to read. If everybody has got the text, we'll start reading. The body thus liberated from itself.
Okay. Yes, I am on the right page because my page numbers differ a little. That's why I had to ask. Okay, Rangata, I'm reading.
Yeah, okay. So read the para.
Yes, Rangata. The body thus liberated from itself, purified from many of its disorders and irregularities, becomes partly by asana, completely by combined asana and pranayama, a perfected instrument. It is freed from its ready liability to fatigue. It acquires an immense power of health. Its tendencies of decay, age, and death are arrested. The Hatha Yogin, even at an advanced beyond the ordinary span, maintains the unimpaired vigor, health, and youth of the life in the body. Even the appearance of physical youth is sustained for a longer time. He has a much greater power of longevity, and from his point of view, the body being the instrument, it is a matter of no small importance to preserve it long and to keep it for all that time free from impairing deficiencies. It is to be observed also that there is an enormous variety of asanas in Hatha Yoga, running in their fullness beyond the number of 80, some of them of the most complicated and difficult character. This variety serves partly to increase the results already noted, as well as to give a greater freedom and flexibility to the use of the body. But it serves also to alter the relation of the physical energy in the body to the earth energy with which it is related, the lightening of the heavy hold of the latter, of which the overcoming of fatigue is the first sign, the phenomena of the thapan or partial levitation, the last is one result. The gross body begins to acquire something of the nature of the subtle body and to possess something of its relation with the life energy. That becomes a greater force, more powerfully felt, and yet capable of a lighter and freer and more resolvable physical action. Powers which culminate in the Hatha Yogic Siddhis are extraordinary powers of Garima, Mahima, Anima, and Laghima. Moreover, the life ceases to be entirely dependent on the action of the physical organs and functioning, such as the heartbeats and the breathing. These can, in the end, be suspended without cessation of or lesion to the life.
Fairly simple. There is nothing very complicated. Only the thing is, he has given those Sanskrit terms. Okay, the subtle body can become garima. That means it can become very, very heavy. Even the physical body can become very heavy. You can make it so heavy that no one can even lift it up. Mahima, it can also, Mahima is obviously, it cannot be the physical, but it has to be the subtle physical. Mahima, it will become very large. Okay, it can become as large. This is the power of Hanuman, which is symbolized in the story, where he goes on changing his body. He can become as small as he wants, and he can become as big as he wants. Okay, so, and Lagima is the lightness of the body, and that is in the physical body itself, because that we know is what is called levitation. You start actually, the law of gravity does not affect you at all. Okay, so that is one thing. Then lastly, he is saying something very interesting. Even the heartbeats and the breathing can be suspended. Yeah, I remember when I was quite young, I was a student then, because after independence, the Russian scientists were very interested in these phenomena, and they came here to check. And one experiment was given that a Hatha Yogi actually got buried for 5 hours, and when they dug him out again, he was absolutely perfectly okay. You can suspend your heartbeats and your breathing. This happens also in universe also. When the winter comes in the Arctic circles, living creatures actually go into hibernation. But hibernation is different, and complete suspension of life is also different. There are crabs and there are other creatures in the Arctic regions which get covered up absolutely in ice. Okay? And they remain dead for all purposes for 6 months. Then when the sun rises again, in the polar regions, then Antarctic and Arctic regions, then they come back to life again. Okay, so this is what he's saying. They can be in then suspended without cessation. You don't even need to. It will not end in death or in lesion to the life. Lesion is an injury. No injury even to life. You are perfectly okay. These are the powers of the Hatha Yoga in the body. And then also he's saying something interesting. Okay, we'll very quickly go through the sentences. Yes, see. Yes. The body thus liberated from itself. What does it mean? How can the body be liberated from itself? It means that the laws that govern the body, okay, for instance, hunger, thirst, also the levitation, okay, the heaviness in the body, okay, illness, these are all which the body becomes free from all these things. That is what it meant. The body thus liberated from itself, purified from many of its disorders and irregularities. If you do regularly all these pranayama and hatha yoga, many of your even chronic illnesses can disappear. Chronic illnesses sometimes disappear with pranic healing, but they are not permanent solutions. They are temporary solutions. You really become free with pranic healing, but it can come back. Whereas in Hatha Yoga, if you go on with great regularity doing these practices, then you can become absolutely cured of all these disorders and regularities. Becomes partly by asana, completely by complete asana and pranayama. Very interesting. Only if you do asanas, you'll get good health. Okay, some of them, your illnesses also may disappear. But if you practice it along with pranayama, because now you are doing not only physical but also vital, it becomes absolutely, completely, he's saying, by combined asana and pranayama. The perfected instrument, perfected instrument. And what are the results he is giving you? It is freed from its ready liability to fatigue. Even fatigue does not come in. You can go on working like Mother and Sri used to work without Hatha Yoga. They used to work for hours and hours together. Sri used to actually rest only for 2 hours. The rest of the time, even in the period at night, he's going on writing letters to Saraks. Okay? This is a well-known thing. It acquires an immense power of health. Its tendencies of decay, age, and death are arrested. He's not saying that death is conquered. He's saying it is arrested. The progress towards death is arrested. We also know that Sri Aurobindo met Brahmananda, who had lived for 300 years. Sri Aurobindo met him. They didn't talk, but he, on the bank of the Narmada River, he met this Brahmananda. For 300 years he had lived. Whether he was doing Hatha Yoga or not, I don't know, but he was a great yogi. The Hatha Yogin, even at an age advanced beyond the ordinary span, maintains the unimpaired vigor, health, and youth of the life in the body. So here, without being melodramatic, he is telling you that the Hatha Yogin, even at an age advanced beyond the ordinary span, that means he's just telling you that the average span, even if it is 70, 80, 90, 100 years, he can live even beyond that. With unimpaired vigor, health, and youth of the life of the body. Even the appearance of physical youth is sustained for a longer time. Wow. So he has a much greater power of longevity, and from his point of view, the body being the instrument, it is a matter of no small importance to preserve it long and to keep it for all time free from impairing deficiencies. Of course, in integral yoga, you don't want to do Hatha Yoga necessarily, because there are other ways, as Mother and Sri Aurobindo showed us. They are psychological ways. But one thing is there, even the Isha Upanishad says that life is very precious, so you should wish to live for 100 years. Shatam Sama. Okay? You must be able to live for 100 years. Jiji Vishet. You should actually wish to live for 100 years. So that Hatha Yoga does through the bodily functions, the asanas and pranayama. But psychological possibilities also are there, as in the interior yoga. He has a much greater power of longevity, and from his point of view, the body being the instrument, it's a matter of no small importance to preserve it long and to keep it for all that time free from impairing deficiencies. It is to be observed also that there are an enormous variety of asanas in Hatha Yoga. We used to have here a gentleman called Ambu. He was a Gujarati and he was an expert in asanas. He used to teach, and every 1st December programs, he used to show these asanas. Okay. So he was quite a case. He had got many letters from mother, and very interesting character. Anyway, running in the fullness beyond the number of 80 asanas, beyond the number of 80 asanas. Some of them are the most complicated and difficult character. I don't know if Surendra tried. How does he know? He must have just looked at the pictures, I suppose. Anyway, this variety serves partly to increase the results already noted, as well as to give a greater freedom and flexibility to the use of the body. But it serves also to alter the relation of the physical energy in the body to the earth energy with which it is related. So this we have to understand. Okay? But it serves also to alter the relation of the physical energy in the body to the earth energy with which it is related. So what he means is that in the physical world, there is a huge amount of energy. The wind is blowing, it is energy. The sunlight is coming, it is energy. The river is flowing, it is energy. Okay? The sun is rising and going round, the earth is going round, that's also energy. So there is this vast energy in the world, in the universe, with which we are in the middle of that sea of energy. And normally it doesn't enter into us much. Physically, when we eat food, it's also energy going into us and sustaining us. But you can sustain yourself with world energy without food. You can draw energy from the sun, you can draw energy from uh, the fragrance of flowers. All this you can do. So this is what Srimati is referring to. So you change the balance, the amount of energy going into you, not only through food, but also through other ways. You have the capacity to absorb a huge amount of energy. Normally we can't. If too much of energy is there in the body, we become restless. Okay, that's the whole thing. So he's saying here it changes entirely. This is what he means by the interaction between the world and the human body in the case only of energy. But there can be interaction of consciousness, it can be interaction of power, it can be interaction of vibrations, emotions, all these things can be there. But here he is talking of the energy. The lightening, making light of the heavy hold of the latter. The heavy hold of the latter, he means that the physical body is absolutely governed by the power in the universe, nature, the nature force, Prakriti is actually controlling your body. It's also controlling your vital and controlling your mind, but the body is completely controlled by the energy in the world. It's a world energy that is maintaining, which is very, very obvious with the food. The food is coming from the universe, and your health depends on that. So it depends even much more subtly from the sunlight and the other energies that are there everywhere. So, the gross body begins to acquire something of the nature of the subtle body. The subtle body is much more capable, and your gross body starts getting the capacities of the subtle body and to possess something of its relations with that life energy. Which life energy? The world life energy. That becomes a greater force, more powerfully felt, and yet capable of a lighter and freer and more resolvable physical action. powers which culminate in the Hatha Yogic Siddhis or extraordinary power. Garima, Mahima, Anima, Laghima. Laghima very clearly even in the physical body. But I'm not so sure about Garima, Mahima, and Anima in the gross body. Whether that is possible or not, I don't know. But certainly it is possible at the subtle body level. No doubt about it. They have these stories of Hanuman, because Hanuman is Vayuputra. He is the son of the wind god. Okay, so he represents life. So he could become as great as he wanted, he could become as small as he wanted. When he was in Lanka first time, that's what he was doing. When he was fighting the Asuras, okay, rather the Rakshasas, he used to become as big as he wanted. And when he wanted to hide and go and see Sita in the garden, he used to become as small as possible. So symbolic. These are all symbolic that these things are possible. Moreover, their life ceases to be entirely dependent on the action of the physical organs and functioning. There you are. Even your, he's not even talking of the liver and the stomach and all these things. He's talking even of the heartbeat, which is absolutely essential. Such as the heartbeats and the breathing. And these can be then be suspended without cessation or of lesion to the life. Life will continue. So dramatic results can come from, but our integral yoga, the aim is quite different. Of course, you want to have a good body and a healthy body, and that is why a little bit of physical education also is introduced in the ashram life. But it is not to pay so much attention to the body. That's the whole point. There are many other more important things. So we can read the next one now. All this. Today I see that Gitanjali has come after a long time, and I don't know if she has got the text. But if she has got the text, she can read. I think she's not there now. So maybe Sunki, you can read?
Yes, I will read.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. All this, however, the resultant perfection of asana and pranayama is only a basic physical power and freedom. The higher use of hatha yoga depends more intimately on pranayama. Asana deals more directly with the more material part of the physical totality, though here too it needs the aid of the other. Pranayama, starting from the physical immobility and self-holding, which is secured by asana, deals more directly with the subtler vital parts, the nervous system. This is done by various regulations of the breathing, starting from equality of respiration and inspiration, and extending to the most diverse rhythmic regulations of both, with an interval of inholding of the breath. In the end, the keeping in of the breath, which has first to be done with some effort, and even its cessation, become uneasy and seem as natural as the constant taking in and throwing out, which is its normal action. But the first objects of the pranayama are to purify the nervous system, to circulate the life energy through all the nerves without obstruction, disorder, or irregularity, and to acquire a complete control of its functionings, so that the mind and will of the soul inhabiting the body may be no longer subject to the body or life or their combined limitations. The power of these exercises of breathing to bring about the purified and unobstructed state of the nervous system is a known and well-established fact of our physiology. It helps also to clear the physical system, but is not entirely effective at first on all its canals and openings. Therefore, the Hatha Yogin uses supplementary physical methods for clearing them out regularly of all their accumulations. The combination of these with asana, particular asanas have even an effect in destroying particular disease, and with pranayama maintains perfectly the health of the body. But the principal gain is that by this purification, the vital energy can be directed anywhere to any part of the body and in any way or with any rhythm of its movement.
Okay, also very interesting. The details we can also give examples of what he's saying. All this, however, the result in its perfection of asana and pranayama is only a basic physical power and freedom, not vital, nor is it mental. The higher use of Hatha Yoga depends more intimately on pranayama, more than the asana, because the energy level, the vital, is at a slightly higher level of consciousness and also of subtlety than the body. So therefore, it has got better results. Asana deals more directly with the more material part of the physical totality. Though here too, it needs the aid of the other. That means it needs prana. Pranayama, starting from the physical immobility and self-holding, which is secured by asana, deals more directly with the subtler vital parts, the nervous system. This is done by various regulations of the breathing, starting from equality of respiration and inspiration. Equal. 4 counts inside, 4 counts outside, or 8 counts, or whatever you want. It depends. And extending to the most diverse rhythmic regulations of both expiration and inspiration, with an interval of in-holding the breath. In other words, now he is saying not only respiration and inspiration, but also holding the breath. And these terms are in Sanskrit, they are called, okay, Rechaka, Puraka, Kumbhaka. Puraka is filling the lungs with air. Rechaka is the throwing out of the stale air in your lungs. And Kumbhaka is to Kumbha. Kumbha means like a pot. You hold the air which you have breathed in for as long as you want. Then there is more time for the blood vessels in the coming into the lungs to absorb more oxygen and give out more carbon dioxide. So this is the usefulness of Kumbhaka. You give it more time. You give the body more time. Kumbhaka. So there are proportions. Okay. Between all these, there are proportions. That's what I'm saying. Very complicated. Various regulations are there. It depends on which is suitable to which individual. All sorts of combinations are there. Actually, I was asthmatic when I was young, and I was advised that asthma is nothing but the phlegm which gets settled in the levels of the alveoles in the lung. So you must breathe out as much as you can. And when you breathe out, there is also sometimes coughing because all this phlegm comes out. So, so this is what the Hatha Yogin does. Okay? And I remember I had to even press my lungs to get the air out, the stale air, because this residual phlegm which is there in the lungs also has to be brought out. So this is what he's saying. This is done by various regulations of the breathing, starting from equality of respiration and inspiration and extending the most diverse, so many different types with different proportions. Breathing in and breathing out. In many cases, breathing out is more important than breathing in. And holding the breath also. That also is interesting. In the end, the keeping in of the breath, which has first to be done with some effort, and even its cessation, become as easy and seem as natural as a constant taking in and throwing out, which is natural, normal action. But the first objects of the pranayama are to purify the nervous system. Okay? The nervous system gets purified. First, it gets purified in the subtle body, then it also gets purified in the physical body. to circulate the life energy through all the nerves without obstruction. Because we know that pranic healing, they feel that there are obstructions and they work to remove the obstructions. Okay? So there are obstructions. Just like in a river also there are obstructions, or even in drains and canals, there are obstructions. You have to remove those obstructions. This happens in the nervous system also. Okay? Without obstruction, disorder, irregularity. And to acquire a complete control of its functionings, so that the mind and will of the soul inhabiting the body may be no longer subject to the body or life or their combined limitations. So it becomes completely, the soul can become free of body and life. The power of these exercises of breathing to bring about a purified and unobstructed state of the nervous system is a known and well-established fact of our physiology. Now, this is a interesting thing, because what we do in India by breathing, the Chinese do with acupuncture. That also, they know exactly where to put the needles and they restore the free flow of energy in the nerves. Okay, that's the principle that they use there. It's the same thing to restore the normal flow. In other words, wherever there is obstruction, they'll put those pins in a way. It's a science. It's not nonsense. Huh? It is absolutely a science. In fact, experiments have been made with acupuncture without anesthesia to have operations, surgery without anesthesia, just by the application of the needles at the right places. Okay, this also has been done. So many different types of things are there. The power of these exercises of breathing to bring about a purified and unobstructed state of the nervous system is a known and well-established fact of our physiology. It helps also to clear the physical system, but is not entirely effective at first on all its canals and openings. Therefore, the Hatha Yoga uses supplementary physical methods for clearing them out regularly of all their accumulations. I'll tell you what they do. Maybe some of you know also. What they do, for instance, in the esophagus, maybe there is a lot of phlegm stuck there. So what they do, or even other things, food particles and other things. So what they do, they take a long, very clean and soft cloth, let's say about 1 inch or 1.5 inches long, and maybe 5, 6 meters, 7 meters, 8 meters long. Then they swallow that slowly. But the cloth must be absolutely soft and clean. And they swallow that and then slowly pull out the whole thing. Okay. Then all the things which should not be there in the esophagus, they come out. Okay. This is one way. That's what I'm saying by supplementary physical methods. Okay. Then there's another method also. What they do is they forcibly vomit out. Now that is not something very aesthetic, nor is it very recommended. But they put their finger deep into their mouth and then force a vomiting sensation. That also they do. Then the other thing is there, we know also, slightly warm water with a little bit of salt, take it, breathe it through the nostrils and bring it out through the mouth. I used to do that when I used to have a blockage of my nasal cavities. Okay, so that also they do. So these are the supplementary physical methods. But I didn't tell you, I'll tell you now, they do it also by they sit in a tub of water, okay? They sit in a tub of water and they can take the water in through the anus, okay? And that cleans the intestines. Just as we take enema, okay, and clear the intestines, because sometimes, I remember I had to undergo that once, okay? When you have to have surgery, they do that because they don't want any obstructions. They want to see exactly everything must be clean and nice. so that is what these people do in these ways, okay? Cleaning the esophagus, cleaning the nasal cavities, cleaning also the intestines, okay? They get the power to take the water in from the lower end of the body and bring it out. Then the intestines become clean and nice. Okay? So that's what he's saying. So it's now 8:37 and we have done 2 paras. We'll have to stop here today. The next one is the mere function of breathing. Suki, you'll make a note?
Yes, I will make a note.
Okay. So the mere function of breathing, that's what we'll do next time, next Friday. Okay, goodbye everybody.
Thank you,
Have a nice-
Rangada.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Uh,
Rangada.